Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the I Love Wrestling podcast. I'm your host, as always, Justin Woolwine, and today we're welcome with another podcaster, Matty, the founder of the Wrestling Pedigree. How we doing, my friend?
I am absolutely good. Thank you for having me, and it's a pleasure to be on this show.
Of course. Thank you for accepting the invitation. It's really cool. Just I guess a little behind the scenes. We've all been put together in kind of this wrestling prediction league put together by Adam over at Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast, and I like it because it's a good way for us creators to kind of come together and collaborate and have some fun. What are your thoughts on the whole prediction league so far?
I love it. I'm used to doing a lot of predictions leagues also, but it's kind of unique for just podcasters to do it. In our little bubble. I will admit I kind of screwed up last night, but I did listen to my co-host Steve on the men's Royal Rumble, but we would have had full marks. I think you guys win full marks?
No, I want to say the only one I missed. No, I missed two. I thought they was gonna pull the trigger on Sammy last night. I really did, and I said Bianca was gonna come back and win.
Yeah, I mean, where Bianca is at the moment, I have no idea. Um, but I love it. It's unique, and it helps us podcasters who love creating content just network within us and spread out even more.
Definitely. And I mean, just before we like really dive into the wrestling pedigree and how you've put together your platform, would you like to let us know where we can check it out, like on social medias and all other platforms?
You can find us. Well, I try to put Wrestling Pedigree everywhere on social media, so you can find us on Facebook. Wrestling Pedigree is the name. Also on TikTok is Wrestling Pedigree. On Instagram and YouTube is Wrestling Pedigree 92. And you can find my personal X account on W frickin' A, which is Wrestling frickin' Awesome, on X account.
Perfect, perfect. And just out of curiosity, when did you like get the idea to even put the wrestling pedigree together? How'd you come up with the concept?
Um, I've been on social media for so many years, looking at wrestling, like the wrestling community, and I see so much negativity and just crap. And I was just thought, if I want to create a page where a community where people respectfully say their opinion and they're not get ridiculed and not get crap, it's just I thought that was the best way to just to start a community where I could see the positivity in pro wrestling as a fan. And it just started off as just myself just putting stuff out on Facebook, and then just build up with friends over the pond, over America, doing podcasting now, just 3 shows a week. Wrestling Pedigree has a show with myself and Steve. Um, and then we got Christopher Ross for the Ross Report, where we just go through the whole week news and give our predictions. And then I have Kane Uncut, where it's Sonny the Man Eagle Kane, a former independent wrestler in the 90s and early 2000s, where he gives his experience on and his stories, where he wrestled with the Hardy Boys and stuff like that. So it's built up from like just a couple of posts on Facebook to gradually growing higher, hopefully more.
Perfect. So like, how long have you been doing it? Like, when did you like drop your first one?
August the 16th of last
Okay,
year.
of last
So
year.
yeah, of
Nice.
last year. And
Okay.
it's gradually got more. We haven't missed a week, even though like you guys got the massive snowstorms over there. Bless those three, they haven't missed a show, and we're doing our first watch along last night. Myself and my boy Max, we're just in my living room just watching Royal Rumble, and we're gradually going to do more watch alongs. But yeah, it's just what's so good about wrestling content, and especially on social media, is there's so much avenues you could go down,
Definitely.
and you'll understand that it's just there's so much you could do, and we're just going to try to go down every avenue.
So, just looking back at yesterday, even during your first watch along, um, how did you enjoy that? Like, what was some things like coming out of it that maybe you think um, could maybe improve on? Like, what's your overall viewpoint on how your watch along yesterday went?
With my watch alongs, I'm everyone from my friends and family has told me that I should do watch along because I get really into it. I'm shouting out. I'm kind of swearing. If you ever watch Trailer Park Boys, I'm kind of like Ricky.
Okay.
So I'm literally like, oh, all that stuff. So I get really into it, and I just express myself, and while watching back at it, I could see how much I still love wrestling, and it's kind of good how my boy got into it even more, and he's going like crazy because Cody Rhodes came out. So looking back on it, I think the only thing I really need to do um, is promote more. Obviously,
Okay.
working 40 hours a week in retail, there's a lot of less time to do it in the day, but I think that's only my kryptonite is I need to promote more and promote the shows more. But apart from that, I thought the watch along was really good, and you just gradually just get experience and then learn from other people, and then you get your own groove up. I think.
Definitely. I mean, I think that's the same thing even for like the ILW pod is just for one, promoting is always the hard part, especially promoting with limited budget. Always is the hard part. Utilizing social media is always key, but growing a platform of any kind without the right kind of backing is always difficult. Especially when like you said, working retail 40 hours a week or whatever you're doing. Like I do landscape during the spring and summer and fall months, and then snow removal, and which all of that's unpredictable. So trying to figure out or plan a promotion schedule around that is, I don't want to say impossible, but it's very very difficult. So I definitely understand that being, I guess, an area of concern
Yeah.
for lack of better terms.
So,
um,
seeing as you've been doing it for like almost 2 years now, would you say do you still get the nerves? Because I get nervous every time I go on I do a podcast show.
well, yes and no. Interviews, yes, it happens a lot more
Mm.
frequently, but like doing like watch alongs or even other content, like my dad and my brother, they do reviews. Sometimes I'll help them with those. And like I've found myself very comfortable in front of a camera. Uh, until like for instance like the latest time I really got super like nervous kind of was the Hardy Boys interview when TNA offered me the opportunity to talk to them. I went in thinking I was fine, like I was cool, calm, collected, have my research done, I was ready to go. Um and the camera turned on and I literally started shaking and I was like, oh shit. Which it went good, I think it went great. But it still happens, and it's in like times I mean, obviously the Hardys, I probably should expect it, but like it happens at strangest times. Like I just had Mike Santana on for the second time, and the first time I was fine, which was crazy because it's like the first opportunity to work with TNA. This time he's world champ, and like I got nervous on that, and I was like, I've already talked to this guy. I don't know why I'm nervous, but I was. So it's just circumstantial. Like it really just depends. Like what are like times where you find yourself getting into that place?
Every time I put on a camera at the moment, I
Okay.
when it's me and Steve, and when I do the other shows, I'm confident. I'm not nervous that much. But it's when I gotta do just myself,
Yeah.
and I gotta promote Wrestling Pedigree for like doing on the phone. And I did a reel a couple of days ago, and it's the first time I did it when I'm just myself, and I'm the most thing I'm worried about is my accent because in the UK in the southwest we have like kind of like a mixture of New York mixed with Alabama. We're
Okay.
very country, but we are a city. So I always worry about my accent because it's very strong. But if always worry that people will understand me. But that's the most nervous I get is when I'm promoting on my own and I'm just talking just talking just on a camera on myself.
So like I guess from personal experience, I've done YouTube now for like almost 4 years. I started at 21 or 22 with the figure channel. Like I was doing action figure stop motion and figure reviews. And like I hadn't even shown my face yet, but I was still talking over them, kind of getting in that, like getting used to even hearing my own voice. And just reps. It's like anything, reps is what kind of got me over it to where I was over the last 3 or 4 years. I've just got used to hearing myself talk, I guess. So like even when I first started the podcast, um granted, like my first couple interviews, I don't like it all because I didn't know how podcasting worked at all. I was just kind of mirroring what everybody else was doing. So like for that reason, I don't really like them, but I'm able to go back and listen to them now. As to like maybe a year ago or even 6, 7 months ago, I couldn't. Like I just thought it was the worst thing that I've ever heard. But I guess after hearing myself over and over and over and over, I've just got used to it. So it's just reps, getting used to reps. I, for one, like something I've had to get over is I am extremely dyslexic. Like, and it shows really bad in the live streams when I'm trying to like remember names or numbers. Like they all just get conjumbled up in my head. So like that comes out a lot, and like that's one thing I've really had to overcome. And like my brother, when we do the live streams, he's always ragging on me for making mistakes, which they feel as the host of the podcast and the guy who runs it, I should probably have all my ducks in a row, but I don't usually. And so like they'll pick on me or poke fun, and I that's the one time I kind of get a little heated. Like, hey, I can't help this. Like it's just something that's natural. Like it just happens. I can't fix it. I could go to a speech therapist maybe, but it's probably not going to do much. I've been this way for 25 years. So it's just something over time. I can definitely contest to that aspect of being nervous goes away just with reps.
Yeah.
So out of curiosity, like just, to do what we do, we got to be fans of this. Like you got to enjoy wrestling to get on the internet and talk about this crazy world. When did you first find wrestling?
It was August 1992.
Okay.
I was Wembley Stadium watching SummerSlam 92 and watching Bret Hart versus Davey Boy Smith, British Bulldog. Watching that match just hooked me for wrestling. I was about four or five. I could still remember it. And I could still, it's not really the visuals, it's hearing the people, hearing the fans, and then that just hooked me. And since then, I've gone through the New Generation era, the Attitude era, everything. And then I got into post, I think it was post pandemic. I fell in love with the indies because I was a really like, apart from like WCW, ECW, I was full WWE. And then we had in the UK it's a bit hard to get wrestling from the States apart from WWE. So TNA wouldn't show on our channels for at least 2008.
Okay.
And then fell in love with the indies after the pandemic, and then I've been going to a lot of indie shows. So it gradually just built up my love more and more. But yeah, since '92, I fell in love with this profession.
Were you at Wembley or did you watch it?
I was at Wembley.
Oh, okay. So you gotta like the best you can remember, like just overall, how would you
It was
explain what it was like being in that crowd and in that arena or stadium at the time watching Brett
loud.
and Bulldog?
It was loud. The oh, being like really short, obviously as a kid, couldn't really see much because everybody else was in the way. as we were quite high up because coming from a poor background. But yeah, it's just the hearing it, just hear the crowd chant, and I can still hear it where Bulldog wins, and it's just like literally back then we didn't have the earphones. You see kids now in the audience, so literally I'm surprised I could hear it because it was that deafening, and I just fell in love because I thought, wow, that electric atmosphere just hooks you.
So, like, was Bulldog your favorite, or who were your favorites growing up?
Oh, growing up was obviously British Bulldog. Um, I had a bit of WCW, so Win and Regal was one of them, or Steven
Nice.
Regal. Um, obviously Taker, HBK.
Mm.
I loved the wrestlers that were really unique, and obviously every wrestler really is new unique, but the ones where they do something that you really don't expect, like who will see Undertaker jump over the top rope over like a Inferno match and stuff like that. So it's those wrestlers just hook on you, and when I gradually got my teenager years, is Eddie Guerrero, um, Dean Malenko. I'm more of a technical wrestling kind of fan.
Okay.
So those and like obviously the Rey Mysterio Jr. and stuff like that.
It's interesting when we like just looking back at, like, for instance, Bulldog's career, and you see, obviously he has the big moments like in Wembley, winning the tag titles, winning the Intercontinental title, European Championship, those things. Um, as a fan growing up, and we never get to see him win the the WWF Championship, WWE Championship. Um, Looking back, do you think that was a missed opportunity on WWE, or do you think it was because you hear a lot of stories of maybe Davey Boy was in his own way? Do you think that's what it was? Like, what's your opinion on Bulldog not winning the title?
Bulldog not winning the big one. I honestly thought he was going to win at one night. Was it one night stand in
One night
Birmingham?
only?
One night
Yep.
only, yeah.
Yeah.
One night only in Birmingham, '97. I thought he was going to do it then, but there's so many stories in backstage where Bulldog was out of it. As a fan, I wish he did, and I think he deserved to win it because he put in most of the hard work from '92 onwards. But it's one of those where I could put Bulldog in that same list as Piper, and I would probably go out there with Dynamite Kid also. But yeah,
Okay.
it's one of those wrestlers, one of those things where if WWE had more of a relationship with England and the UK, I think they would have put a belt on him, just like what they did in 1998 when they had tried to do the Indian market and got singing, I think Rajay Singh into it. So yeah, it's if they had a better market, I think Bulldog would have been champion.
I know he went to WCW. I believe he became WCW Worldwide Champion. Do you think Bulldog in WCW is better than WWF Bulldog?
Oh, for me, I think the best time Bulldog in WCW was him and Sting.
Yeah.
But for me, him in WWF with the Heart Foundation is his
Mm,
best
I like it.
Bulldog. I think I from that summer '97. Yeah, it was brilliant.
Well, I mean, even like looking at that era, the Hart Foundation, and then when you look back and see what happened to Brett and this, Montreal and things like that, um, do you think Brett leaving hurt the rest of the foundation, whether that be Bulldog or Owen, Jim? Like, do you think that hurt him?
Oh yeah, I think it hurt him, and they had to leave because of loyalty. But for Owen to stay and prove his worth, I think I think it was perfect for him, but in tragic circumstances. But for the screw job with Brett, I think it definitely hurt every Heart Foundation member, and particularly Bulldog because he got particularly injured. I think soon after that in WCW,
Yeah.
we was back with a trapdoor. I think for Ultimate Warrior. So yeah, if Bulldog didn't leave, who wouldn't knew that in we might have had a better Bulldog than we did in 1999.
That's fair. I didn't even think about it like from that aspect because I forgot that Bulldog did get hurt on. It was the trapdoor at the I think Fall Brawl when
Yeah,
Warrior showed up in the cage. Um, that's a crazy moment to look back and think of all the people that are in that ring when Warrior shows up in WCW is kind of crazy. Um, what do you think? Looking back and I mean, looking at the late '90s and things like that. What do you think contributed to the upswing of the WWF and the downswing of WCW?
for one, Vince Russo, uh,
For both?
both. Um, well, if you watch JCW recently, you could say where he went wrong. Um, I think for WWE for Uprising, they knew the production what money to spend. I think they were very assured of the money. So where they would do a live show and then a tape show, but then do really good on the pay per views. Where Nitro will do very high production on Nitro, and then do very bad on the pay per view, but even still do good matches on the pay per view, but still not as good as WWE. I think it all came down to production, the spend on the money, but also we WWE back then had young superstars like Edge, Christian, the Hardys, um, just Val Venus, Ken Shamrock, Gangrel, all those coming in. Where then you look over to WCW where you see Jay Leno having an arm lock, like a hammer lock on Hogan, and then you see all guys like even no disrespect to them, but when you're if you look at now, you see Roman coming back for the sixth time in 12 months. And then you see old guys like Goldberg came back and stuff like that. You see AJ retiring, you see John Cena retiring. It's gradually trying to get the new generation in. And then you see others wrestlers that are just trying. It's basically old WCW, and WWE was just trying to get young, and they were more hungry.
Definitely.
Would you rather if you WCW had gave you a contract from
Mhm.
'96 to 2001, where you could sit at home and get paid by $500,000? Would you keep? Would you want to wrestle or just want to sit home and just chill?
I mean, if I have the option, I mean, personally, I probably want to wrestle, but like, let's say I could just sit home and chill and make $500,000 and not put my body on the line. I'd probably sit at home and not put my body on the line,
And that's a
especially if they're feeding me the Shockmaster or the Yeti. Like, then I'm probably
yeah.
gonna stay home.
Or the wizard. Was it the Wizard was from
Yeah,
Kevin
the
Nash?
the Wiz. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'd rather stay home and take that money, which a lot of them did by the end. So, and if you got to put up with Ed Ferrara and Fitz Russo bull crap, yeah, I'd rather stay home, and that's really what
Yeah,
happened by 2000.
I wouldn't want to deal with Oklahoma either.
I want to punch
um,
him.
so like out of curiosity, you hear the common story like for wrestling fans is like you get in the teenage years into your early adulthood that sometimes people take a break. Did you take a break from wrestling or was you all about wrestling
Uh,
the whole way
I,
through?
I was all about wrestling. I was bullied in school, so wrestling was a very big escapism for me. And then whenever after school, I would go home, put in a VHS of a wrestling show. Me and my friends used to swap tapes. So one of my friends, I don't know how he did it, but he had a satellite like chipped. box, satellite box, where we could get US TV. So he would record all the wrestling on ECW, on TNN, and stuff like that, and we would just swap tapes. So yeah, as soon as I finished school, every day just put on a VHS and play on the computer games, and that was literally still wrestling. And then it just carried on and on. As soon as I was just about going adulthood, it got even worse. Where I just watched wrestling nonstop.
Okay. So like how did you find being able to like balance your consumption of wrestling with everything else in life? Because I know like for me personally, even like I don't mean this in like a negative way, but like sometimes I think maybe I paid too much attention to wrestling and action figures and other things, and maybe it like slowed me down a little bit to where I didn't realize that the real world was in front of me until a real world situation hit. Is that something you experienced, or did you find a balance?
I found I found a balance when I was in my 20s where I would just go out with friends, have a couple of beers, go to a soccer game, um, and then I'll find a kind of balance there and then watch a bit of wrestling. But when I got married, then the balance came because half of my like a quarter of it was wrestling, a quarter of it was work, and half the other half was my wife. So it's
Yep.
that kind of balance work to find. So as soon as I got married in 2014, then I found a really good balance between real world and wrestling and other hobbies.
So, as a young man who's about to get married, what advice would you have for me when it comes to balancing, work life, podcast life, and wife life?
Um, for one, she's always right. Um,
Absolutely.
I would say make sure you have. So was it Monday night? It depends which kind of promotions do you like. If you like all of them, then I would say give yourself at least 2 hours a day to get catch up on everything on that day, and then spend the rest with the partner or wife. So it's that kind of balance. But I would probably say make more room for her because wrestling won't stop, and it's easier to catch up on than hearing how you are not listening to her.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
I see what you mean.
So that's the best advice I could give. But I got her into wrestling now, so I could get away with it a little bit more.
That's nice. See, my fiance does not like wrestling at all. She's not a fan. I guess where I get lucky is whenever I'm consuming whatever, she'll pick up a book and she'll get lost in the book for hours. So it's like if I know she's in the book, then I'm free to do what I need to do. Um, and then like something we've like been trying to figure out like is just like finding a day to like put aside for whatever, maybe to go hang out or go have a date or something. But like even that is with wrestling sometimes hard because there's so much. Like we got 3 live streams a week minimum, and that's for
Mm.
WWE, for Raw, for Dynamite, and then for Impact on Thursdays, which that's a lot. That's 3 days out of the week. And then I got to find interview time, and then if there's a pay per view, there's that watch along. Not to mention, I do 2 other podcasts that like aren't wrestling related. My dad is a minister, so like we do a Talking with Angels podcast where we talk about spirituality, and then me and my brother do. It's called Bros and Pros, which we cover like sports topics. Like the NFL is about to have the Super Bowl. Basketball over here is like halfway through the season. That's when things usually get really interesting, leading to the end of it. We covered the boxing, like Anthony Joshua or versus Jake Paul thing, which was it got a lot of buzz, but I mean it wasn't very good. So like just trying to figure out, and I keep telling her like the light at the end of the tunnel shows I'll have a lot of free time, but right now you got to let me grind this out. Um, which is just something like that. I don't want to say it's hard to balance, but it's like the more I'm like, hey, I'm going to create more time. It's like, oh, now I'm going to fill this time with new things. Have you ever like while the podcast grows for you? Is that something you've experienced? Like the more time you try to put aside for other things, you end up filling it with a new concept or a new idea or a new video or something like that?
Yes. So soon as idea comes in my head, I'm doing it, and then I gotta make it up to her. So I think, yeah, next month I'm taking her to Disneyland Paris just
Nice.
because I'm going to Wembley in the win. So I'm trying to balance that. So
Okay.
it's I learned now, even though I'm doing this, I'm kind of a night owl, so I'll probably get away with it a little bit more, and especially because I'm 5-6 hours ahead of you guys, and most of my um, colleagues are from states. It's kind of like I'm up until 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, so I could do it then, and then get up about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and just give her loads of time. But I think we arranged like two in a month's time. Like in a month, I would say do date night at least two days of those in a month, and then
Okay.
I think you'll be all right. If you got 5 hours, just take her shopping and or just something to eat, and then gradually that 5 hours you had could add on to more of what you could do for the podcast. That's what I've learned.
I've like something I've done, I guess, lately is just like I'll give her a good portion of time to just listen to her. She'll hold in all the things that she's done at work or she's heard from whoever, and then she'll come and she'll kind of like dump it all on me at once, which is fine. I don't care, but it's like kind of like she gets to release all this, and then she wants to get back into the book. So like I don't know. Sometimes I've found like for me at least, like holding it off a little bit and then giving it time to build up has helped because then she just like dumps it all and then she feels better. She's good. She's got everything, all the news out. And like sometimes we might be there for an hour or 2 hours, just letting her talk and have her thing, and then we go on, which is fun. She'll probably kill me if she hears this. Now that I'm thinking about it, but
Oh, my woman knows, so it's fine.
uh, yeah, I'm interested though. You mentioned colleagues in the states. How did you go about finding not only friends to help with the podcast, but finding people like all the way across the world that are interested in doing this? And then what made you decide to bring them kind of on board to expand Wrestling Pedigree?
So it's around the pandemic. It was 2020. It was a pandemic. I was obviously we're staying at home. I was kind of like my mental health was really down. So I found a prediction league called Meltdown MWL. Um, they do a prediction league each week, and you could build your character up. You could do a character and do promos and stuff like that, and you face other predictors each week. It's kind of like GM mode, but just for predicting. Um, it was just that, and I joined them, and then I got along with them. I think it was 85% of them were from the States and Canada, and then the other 15 was from the UK. I literally just chatted and got along with them throughout the years. They're still going on now. There's on their season 7. I just finished with them as a general manager there, and yeah, it's just gradually just a friendship build. And then when I started Wrestling Pedigree, because they got a lot of knowledge as well as me, just decided, let's just do this. And so that's when Christopher Ross and Steve Akins decided to come on board, and I get along with them, and I know it definitely shows in the episodes that I do. And just the only thing I love about Wrestling Pedigree and doing all podcasting and doing this kind of interviews and stuff like that is you have fun. I mean, the world outside is really crap, so why not just have fun just for an hour on here? And that's what we all decided to do.
What so like so far making content? What's been your experience with trying to give maybe each individual person their own image or their own caveat to kind of explore to make each one of you guys different.
So Steve is very. He obviously Steve loves the product now, but he's very nostalgia. So he's grew up the same as us. So he's like WCW, ECW, and WWF. So for Wrestling Pedigree, we go through the past of it. So we've gone the Nitro, Monday Nitro from 95, 97 to all those stories. We've done top 10 greatest Royal Rumbles and stuff like that. So we have a lot of fun doing that. So he has the nostalgia added. Sometimes we talk about the current product, but mostly it's the past product, and we get a lot of fun out of that. So that makes him unique on his show. Christopher Ross is Ross Report. He is a walking wrestling encyclopedia. So he will know everything, and people won't give him a chance to talk. He was never invited to a podcast or anything, chats like that. So I decided to give him a chance, and he just talks. He's up to date on everything in wrestling, whether it's WWE, AEW, TNA. So we just do our current product there, and there was Sonny, from a guy from North Carolina who is in his almost elderly stage. He just talks so much about his past wrestling experiences. Obviously teaming up with Hardys and being on the Carolina circuit of the Indies, and his relationship he has with Ric Flair and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat is phenomenal stories. And we talk about current products also, which is aligned with his stories. So each show is unique, and I'm just there for the ride and just let them shine.
I like it. I like it a lot. Speaking of current product, one hot thing right now happening is is TNA joining AMC. Have you been able to check out any of the product? And if so, what are your thoughts on the current state of TNA?
In the UK, we have the TNA Plus app. Unfortunately, they're not on any of the channels at the moment. I'm hoping they will be. I love this TNA. I love TNA. I've always loved it since the stupid pay-per-views per week. The current product, I like it. I'm not a fan of them letting their stars go. I think they need to keep their best ones there. Like, I'm very happy now they kept Santana back, because there was heavily rumored that he was going to go to WWE. So if they could keep their talent and build on their talent even more, which I think they're doing an amazing job. I mean, AJ Francis and Rich Swann.
I love AJ Francis.
This past week, their match was phenomenal, and this makes AJ such a great heel, and he's one of the best heels in the business, in my opinion. And then you got another great heel in Eddie Edwards, which is the new system. I like their current gimmick. I'm quite sad they got rid of Muse, but
it'd be interesting.
Yeah, but then I don't know where they're going to put Muse now, unless he goes to NXT. So
okay.
I think the best thing that TNA done is relationship with WWE.
Absolutely.
I think it's helped everyone, and it's so much better than they did with AEW. But yeah, if TNA carries on the way they do, I think they could become number 2 promotion.
Okay. It's interesting you bring up like the number 2 promotion thing, because like I've heard a lot of people talk about it, and I think this might be the only thing I've ever agreed with Dave Meltzer on, but he was putting out like, if TNT, pretty much the only way, and I'm paraphrasing this, so it's not a direct quote, but pretty much the only way TNA makes that happen is if they don't focus on it. Like, if the objective isn't to become number 2, and if the objective isn't to become WWE light, it's very possible. If they fixate on making their product as close to WWE as possible and taking that number two spot, then that could be what holds them back. And I see the focus on the wrestling. I think we
Mm.
saw that a lot last week. I think the first episode we got lost in the lights and cameras. I feel like there was some mistakes production wise that were addressed in week two that made it a lot better. Honestly, I think week two was so much better than the debut. Um, but also like the only thing I think looking at it is there are things that they're trying to do to mimic WWE production wise that I don't think they're going to be able to deliver on because the budget isn't WWE budget, which you never know what this partnership I guess entails. Maybe that's a WWE design thing. Like, hey, if we're going to partner with you, we kind of want you to mirror us a little bit because we're kind of, I know WWE owns AAA, but if you look at even AAA now, it's definitely a WWE product. They've changed
Mm.
the ring, they've changed the production, they've changed who's behind the scenes even. So like, I'm just wondering if it's a WWE's method to try to shape wrestling into its own image, if that makes sense.
I make sense for that. For the week one when they debuted on AMC, I think in their heads they think, well, we got a new audience, so we have to tell them exactly what we're doing in that little tiny space. That included the vignettes of the X Division and
Yes.
catching up on all those stories. I think that's the reason why there was only 3 matches on the.
There was 3 matches, and they weren't
Yeah,
long. They weren't
no.
long at all.
So I could understand that, but after that, yeah, they focus on the rest of them. I think the promos are very short, so that's always good. I think the only thing that TNA probably need to do is communicate with our broadcasters. I know this week they had a bit of problem because it was taped. I think Sportsnet in Canada showed at 8 o'clock, where TNA were advertising it for 9 o'clock. So it kind of got a little bit there, but yeah, they're gradually growing, and I think if they do what they did in 2005 to 2008, where like you said they don't think they're the number two, they're going to be the number one. I cannot wait to see the likes of AJ Francis and Nick Nemeth and everybody else just gradually growing and making TNA much better, which they deserves. It's a great promotion, great history, and it definitely deserves better.
Something I do really enjoy that they've done is like if you've looked at their like YouTube channel and stuff like that, they've videoed all the contract signings, everybody that's re-signed, even like the signing of Elena Black or re-signing Nick Nemeth. And they've gone through a lot of the roster showing that. Like they're only like minute clips, but it's really interesting to see Carlos Silva, the president, go to each one of these people with Tommy Dreamer, which that's another familiar face that we all love to see. Just go to these people and get the interaction of them signing. I think it's unique, and I think those little things that people aren't thinking of will make it different because that's one of those things that makes this feel like a real sport. You see somebody signing a contract that I've stamped my place. I'm going to stay here at TNA. It's a big deal, especially when you look at like the internet wrestling community and how we you go to Twitter and somebody's reporting that the Rascals are going to AEW or whatever. Like we always make a big deal out of these signings. So for TNA to take that and utilize it, I think is really smart. Did you get to see any of those clips or anything like that?
Yes, I saw. I on the YouTube. I have the subscribe, so I know whenever they post a video, I know when
Yeah,
I get a notification, and I get the ones where it's Bear Bronson and
that one
Elena
was
Black.
cool.
It's such great signings, and for them to get Elena Black, who said she was done with wrestling,
Yes.
is such a great character because she's so underrated, and I think she will have the creativity now in TNA to be who she wants to be. I know it's a 1 year
Mhm.
contract, but I think she would do. I think it's so great they do these contracts where they involve the fans hey, we
Yes.
signed this guy. Look at this, and then we feel part of it. Um, it's kind of different where you're just standing in the production room and you get the boss pointing to you, and you're like this. Um, I just find the contract signing so much better, and I wish they could do it more. Even with the if they do like Legends deals with like Bully Ray or Mickey James, just do that
Yeah.
and make it much more fun. Also,
But I mean, speaking of Elena Black, you brought up how like she brought up that she was retired, which like a while back, which the circumstance around that I think is crazy. Just watching it's literally the wrestling community bully somebody out of the community, which I don't think is right at all. So like her coming back, I thought was really cool to see her get a second chance when she even put it out there like she was hesitant because of the WWE partnership, and like there's no ill will towards WWE because she had a great time, but it kind of came out of nowhere, even her getting fired. So like her coming back, and I think the year contract, like outside looking in, is more of a let's test the waters, let's see what this year looks like, and like if it goes good and it goes to plan, I could see her long term for TNA, which
mm,
you know I think a system like WWE failed her for whatever reason, whether it was hers or their fault, whoever's. But I think somewhere like TNA could work perfect for her. And it's even something I talked to like Mike Santana about. Like AEW was not the place for Mike Santana.
mm-hmm.
Um, Santana and Ortiz excelled as LAX in TNA. I think he went to AEW because he thought bigger audience, more eyes for LAX, um, or whatever you want to call Santana and Ortiz. But ultimately, the AEW system failed him. I think there's a lot of wrestlers out there that TNA suits, and like Elena Black is one of them. Mike Santana is one of them. Even you look at AJ Francis, he was in the WWE, he was top dollar. He wasn't bad in WWE, but that
No,
system failed him, and he has absolutely excelled. Rich Swann, another one, Eddie Edwards. Like, there's so many of these got Brian Myers that like in bigger systems they fail, but in this one, I'm not saying it's a smaller system, but I feel like it's a more intricate system. Like they keep everything more tight knit, and they do so much better. And so far, from talking to them, that's been their experience too. Like Brian said, yeah, like WWE, he was there, he loved it, but it didn't do him justice. AJ Francis, same thing. Mike Santana said in AEW he was fine, but TNA version is so much better. Um,
mm.
what are your thoughts on these superstars being able to exceed more in a product like TNA as opposed to the bigger two in WB or AEW?
I think the reason is the roster. If you look
Okay,
at Aussie AEW's roster, how many there is on that roster,
it's stacked, too
it's
stacked.
it's so stacked that he obviously got Ring of Honor, and that's even stacked. And then you got WWE, who's got three or four shows now with Evolve, so that's a stacked roster. Where you look at TNA, where the roster is not big, but it's not small, it's perfect. Where you could just excel how you want to be. Um, that's why they put the spotlight on AJ Francis now, and Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers, and um, I know she's gone now, but it was like Kidder Kelly and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
it's it's more eyes are on the TNA now because the roster is not overflown, it's not minimal. Everyone gets a chance, and the creativity at there it seems to be even where the wrestler will get his say or her say, and creative will get their say, and they will try and meet in the middle. Um, just like I think it was Bound for Glory when Nick and Kaz both won the
yep.
is it
The
Call
call
Your
your
Shot?
shot gauntlet. Yep,
Like no one did expect that, and it worked out really
it
well.
was cool.
And it's worked out really well because Kazarian won the title and then obviously lost it to Santana. But now you got Nemeth and then you got Eddie Edwards about. So obviously they're building up wrestlers, and hopefully this is why I said they got to keep their talent because you don't want any others to get built up and then obviously AEW will take him or WWE will take him back. It's just you don't want that, and that promotion, as long as they keep that roster as it is, in that as in numbers, I think they will do really, really better.
So obviously, we both watched the Royal Rumble last night as we record this. Something crazy that we witnessed was the WWE retirement of AJ Styles, and I say WWE retirement because, to me, seeing him not put those gloves in the ring, him put them back on, I feel like that was his sign of kind of defiance. I know Triple H went out on the post show and said that Styles is done in ring, like he's not doing anything else. And they've even, talked about him doing stuff backstage. But I have to, maybe it's part of the grieving process for me, but I have to fantasy book in my head that AJ Styles is not done, that we still got, 10 more months or 11 more months of wrestling out of AJ Styles left. Do you think we see him go to TNA?
Yes, absolutely. I think his final match in TNA will be him versus Kazarian.
Okay. Do you see him getting another run with the title?
I don't think he needs to, but I won't be surprised if they do, because obviously being a 3-time world champion is better than a 2-time champ. But I would say when he did not put his gloves on the mat, I was like, all right, so that's his contract with WWE, which doesn't renew this month. He will just retire from WWE, kind of like Ric Flair. He'll retire from WWE, but then go to TNA, which he's done multiple times. So I would say it's similar to that. And then he could go to New Japan. He'll go to New Japan and do some stuff over there, hopefully with Callum. It's just, I don't think we've seen the last of in-ring AJ Styles. And then after he retired, I could see him doing stuff behind WWE or TNA.
I was I might have talked to my brother Nate and Pops yesterday on the live stream actually about this, but kind of like fantasy book in my head, I was thinking, he could go to TNA, have a run, maybe defeat Santana and then put Santana over, just to get 2 out of that. I think you're right. I think the last match in TNA has to be with Kazarian in that chapter done. I think we see him either in a Noah or in a New Japan, at least for one more time. I don't necessarily think for AJ, and obviously this is me, I haven't talked to him. I don't have the scoop, but I think for AJ, it'd just be having that, closing the chapter of Japan, not necessarily where in Japan, because he's been to Noah since, being with WWE. Obviously, I think we'd all like to see him in New Japan. I just don't know how that works with New Japan and AEW, because I don't see him doing anything with AEW, because I think at the end of this year, we'll get, and then leading into next year, we see AJ Styles go into the Hall of Fame. I think that's how 2027 starts. I think AJ Styles will be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And I think it makes sense. And I think WWE is smart enough to say, he's done here. We're partners with TNA. Let him go do some TNA stuff. Maybe let him go do something in Japan, and then bring him back. When he's ready to slow down, let him slow down, and put him backstage with Bobby Roode and Joseph Parks and all these guys that he loves, and let him help the future.
Can you imagine that? The creativity of that, the producers of that, to have Parks, Rude, Kidman, Styles, Hayes,
Helms, Jason Jordan, Tyson Kidd, it's
Kenny
excellent.
It's just amazing, and Tyson Kidd, who does phenomenal for the women wrestling. It's just just be crazy, and then all they need to do is just change their writers, and then WWE be sorted.
Pretty much. I like the idea, and you've heard a lot of guys talk about this, like Seth or Cody, them talking about when they're done with their in-ring stuff, transitioning backstage. And I think that is actually genius because you look at a lot of people like to shit on WWE's creative right now, but I haven't I haven't not enjoyed it. I'm always open to what's next because we like for one thing, like I thought if there's ever a time to pull the trigger on Sami Zayn, it was last night. Like the crowd was hot. It just made sense. It's like it's home away from home. I thought it would have been perfect. That didn't make a lot of sense to me at all. That was the one thing about that whole show that I just did not quite understand. And I think there was some missed opportunity in the women's rumble with the Judgment Day stuff, like with Liv eliminating Raquel. I think Roxanne should have been there. I don't think she should have been eliminated as early. I think there should have been something there when it comes to them, which we missed out on. But like, I think it could be really nice to see these superstars go backstage and to fill those holes and those little continuity errors, which I mean, honestly, only wrestlers are going to fix that. Like a TV writer doesn't understand those little concepts. That makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean, and I agree with you with Roxanne. I think if Roxanne was there and she saw Liv, that would be so good because then Liv will eliminate her, and then like I'm more looking forward to Monday Night Raw than ever before.
Yes,
For one, who done that to break her? Which
that's interesting.
I think it was Logan Paul under that mask.
I saw that. I saw something interesting that said it could have been Jake.
Ooh.
Which could be cool. But I don't know because I think Jake has hand tattoos. Like I'm pretty sure he's got tattoos on his outer hands, which that would be the only thing that defeat that. But Logan would be cool. I thought it could have been Theory. And the reason I said Theory was I think Theory's only in the vision because Rollins put him there.
Planter.
Which would go back to the Messiah, like the Monday Night Messiah stuff, which I think would be excellent. Like to bring that back, even if it's not full-fledged Messiah, I think they dropped the ball with even that storyline. I think the Messiah character could have went a lot further. So like I'd like to even see that come back in some form or fashion if we could.
I remember that eye gimmick they did with Ray, and I think it was during the pandemic where there was no fans, and you just see Ray with a fake eyeball. That
was rough. It started off so good, man, and they just like all the stuff with Alistair and Buddy was great. And like the Ray's matches weren't bad. Bringing in Dominic was really good. The eye for an eye thing, I get the idea, but like the only way to beat your opponent is to rip his eye out. It's crazy. Like it's not gonna work.
The only way they could have done that is they did a cinema match, like Firefly, like the Firefly Funhouse and the Buried Alive matches. That's the only way you could do it, and then try to make it realistic where it doesn't look like he could lose his eye totally. So, it was fun.
That's a rough one to go around.
It was bad. It was bad back then.
All right, 2 more questions, and then I'm gonna let you go. One thing I'm really curious at is we saw the debut of Royce Keys, formerly known as Powerhouse Hobbs. And the thing I found most interesting about this was the fact that they show Powerhouse Hobbs, and then the brick wall breaks and it's Royce Keys. I took that as a direct shot. Like shots were definitely fired when you're watching that Royce Keys is taking over. Powerhouse Hobbs is dead and gone. Do you think it was a shot at AEW? And what did you think about how they brought in Hobbs to become Royce?
I don't know if it was a shot. I think it was just where they were yesterday in Saudi, where a lot of wrestling fans, including myself, know that they probably don't watch AEW. It's either WWE or nothing. So I believe they probably did Powerhouse Hobbs to say this guy was Powerhouse Hobbs in a different promotion, but now here comes Royce Keys. I could see where it could be a shot, but if it was a real shot, then I would probably put probably Hobbs as in on the title, put him in, like give him a title shot straight away, and then he'll be a champion, which they did for Ciampa. So that's a shot. I think him having the title shot
No, I exactly.
and that is definitely a shot at WWE. So for that entrance, I would probably say no, but it's just introduction for fans that don't watch AEW, which a lot of WWE fans don't.
That it's crazy to see that though. That we got. I mean, the hardcore wrestling fans are going to
Oh,
watch all of it, but WWE has so many more casual fans than AEW does. So like just seeing the reaction that like WWE fans give whenever we get somebody that jumps ship, like Hobbs, who like you look at it compared to maybe like Cody return. Everybody knows Cody Rhodes. Cody's been here before. He's been gone, and everything AEW to that point really did surround Cody in some sort of way. Whether it was him being an EVP, whether even at the end all of the like the Codyverse stuff, like everything at that time was Cody, and then he was gone. He just
yeah,
disappeared. So like obviously Cody's gonna get that reaction, but I felt like Hobbs last night got maybe one of the bigger reactions of the whole show, which leads me to believe like whether it really just depends on what brand he's put on. But if they put him on SmackDown, I could see him being US champion Friday, if you want me to be honest. Like I could see them countering the Ciampa thing with putting it on Hobbs. I also feel like somebody like Hobbs fits better in a WWE system because of the size. Like a Hobbs or a Keith Lee, or like I thought like Jake something would have been really interesting to go to WWE. Also think he probably
yeah,
should have stayed at TNA, but like if he was going to go somewhere, WWE would have made sense. It's just their physique. It makes so much sense.
he does.
Um, but I'm excited to see Hobbs in WWE. I think he'll do better there. I think
I
he's just one of those guys that'll just adapt better.
I love the little spot they did with him and Cody, because that has
Yes.
me as watching, as like you said, a hardcore wrestling fan, watch everything. I was like, oh, I know the history between these two. So it's kind of cool they let that happen, and they know they got go to every kind of fan, the hardcore fan, the casual fan, the new fan, or stuff like that. So they got to fit everything into it. So for me, having that's pretty cool.
Definitely. Matty, as we wrap this up, I just want to first and foremost say thank you. I can definitely say we'll probably end up doing more of these because this is a great time just chatting about wrestling. But as we, we're looking at the future always as creators in this field, I say. What are your biggest goals when it comes to 2026? Like where do you want the wrestling pedigree to be viewed at the end of this? Or do you have personal goals that maybe you want to try to achieve before the end of 26?
The most goals I want, and this is probably a bit of both, is just to do the best I could get. So the best I could do is just literally just put more content out as much as I can and build the brand up so much where that when I ask a wrestler, oh, would you like to, can I interview you and stuff like that, they'll be like, oh yeah, no, you're a brand, that's cool, yeah. So I want that reputation. I want to build wrestling pedigree where I could build up relationship with I Love Wrestling Pod and hit the turnbuckle, and I'm big friends with Gary Joe at Honor the Elite for Follow the Revolution. So I just build up. I just want to build up this year. Just for goals, is just build up wrestling pedigree for now, just to be where you guys are, and in 2027 beyond that is just be well known and hopefully get some media privileges to go to AEWs and ask questions and just interact with more wrestlers and more wrestling fans. And I love talking to fellow wrestling fans. I think we got the best community. We just 15% of them are assholes and the 85% are awesome. So I'd rather be with the 85%.
100%, man. I couldn't have said better myself. Thank you, first and foremost. Everybody go check out Wrestling Pedigree on all platforms. Matty, you are a great person. I'm glad we got to make this connection. I'm glad we got to come on here and interact. Like I said before, the door is wide open. If you ever want to come on for a part 2, we can do a little checkup or just to chat about wrestling and just shoot the shit. Let me know. We'll make this happen.
No worries.
With all that said, I'm just going to leave this at see you next time.